the other night. We're going to do the Obama thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's really great. I'm looking forward to letting the whole wide world know about you, Gary Lucas.
Thank you so much.
Welcome in the audience very much to the program. We got on this program today a monster guitar player, if I may say so, who's going to demonstrate some of that for us. And he's also a songwriter and a composer. And he's also a gentleman of great intellectual curiosity about a great deal of the human society. He has a political conscience. His name is Gary Lucas. And Gary, welcome very much to conversation.
It's an honor for me to be here, Harold.
No, it's my honor to accept you. No, it's my
we have a mutual admiration society thing going on.
Anyway, welcome aboard, as it were, Gary. Met the other night at Giorgio Gomelsky's, another great light here in New York City, to watch the address by Obama, who you like Obama. We're going to get to that.
Yeah,
but tell me a little bit about your own background. Born and raised, that kind of stuff.
Yes, okay. I'm born and raised in Syracuse, New York.
Okay.
I am. I'm old enough to not tell you how old I am, but.
Oh, forget that.
Yeah. But I'm born upstate in Syracuse. I always figured I would move down here. I always was attracted to the energy in New York.
Right.
And anyway, I came here about 32 years ago. I've lived here since.
After having been at Yale for a while?
That's right.
Yeah, you went to Yale and did lit?
English lit, degree in English lit. Then I traveled. I worked in the Far East for a couple of years.
You did? Really? Doing what?
I was working for my father and my uncle in their import-export businesses. But actually, I was having adventures and playing guitar in various bands that I had over there with Chinese musicians.
Oh,
and,
great!
Yeah.
I tell you, I had a thing with a group of people from Africa. They had a thing called the African Chamber of Commerce USA, and they were playing African music. A DJ, a really hip guy named DJ Gaddafi, and he had black glasses and everything, and he was playing music originating from Kenya and all that.
Right.
Great music coming out of Africa. Really good
well,
stuff,
it's
man.
the source, really.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe,
of everything.
But what I'm saying is, and you picked up. When did you pick up on the guitar?
Well, when I was 9 years old, my dad came to me and said, "Gary, how would you like to play a musical instrument? How about the guitar?" And I was like, "Gee, Dad, okay, it sounds interesting." I mean, I was clueless up until that point. Although I have to say, I was listening to rock. I grew up on a steady diet of movie musicals and like classical music that my folks had around the house, and I still like that stuff. But my ear really perked up when I first heard the top 40 radio that they played up in Syracuse in the late 50s growing up.
Late 50s?
Yeah.
Doo-wop stuff? Or?
Well, a little bit more like on the greasy Philadelphia side of things. It was sort of like, Bobby Rydell. It was...
B.B. King?
Well, no, not really. I didn't really get into that or even know about that until a bit later. But I think the first song that really made me stand up and listen was Itty Bitty Pretty One, the R&B song that was later covered by the Jackson 5. And that, that was the first gritty thing that I heard, and I really liked that. And then later I heard Dwayne Eddy's Dance with the Guitar Man. And I was hooked.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then I knew what I wanted to be, which was a guitar man.
Yeah, and you are a monster guitar man, if I may say so. You got a band, we're going to get to all that. And you've been playing and you've been composing and everything like that. And you play the guitar. Acoustic? You ever do electric or not?
I do electric, acoustic, and nylon string, and national steel guitar. Definitely, I've been focusing on that instrument predominantly, although I also took lessons for a short time and played French horn and baritone horn in various school bands and orchestras, and enjoyed it, but really gave it up because, as you may notice, I don't have much of an upper lip, so it was hard to make a good embouchure, really. But guitar, after initially having some difficulties with the fingering because of the nature of this cheap rental guitar my father furnished me. They came back from a trip to Mexico, a place I'm going to play in a couple of weeks, actually. And they brought me a nylon string guitar. And this was like sailing, down a seaway. It was like so easy to glide over the strings there.
Okay, so
and I made progress on that nylon string guitar.
And you picked it up. And when did you start composing your own stuff and all
Well,
that?
right off the bat, I would play a little bit of my own stuff. I would just try and hit grooves, and find my voicings on the guitar, and I'm still doing the same compositional
And you just picked it up yourself. You didn't take lessons or anything?
I did take lessons for a month.
A month,
and then I was like, this is boring. I want to go play football with my friends. And
you were into sports?
Not really, but Syracuse had a winning team. If you know your college football history. In 1959, Ernie Davis, with the number 44 in his back, which, you know, Jim Brown gave him that. Jim Brown came from Syracuse.
Did you play for Yale?
I didn't play, but I played in the marching band, in the Yale marching band.
That's good.
I played at the Yale Bowl on the sidelines.
Yeah.
They'd set me up with a 200-watt Marshall stack, and we did the theme from Shaft and other goodies. And I wasn't mobile, I wasn't marching, but I was part of the band. I love that. The band was notorious.
You've been with the music ever since forever, almost,
well,
right? Although you did a degree in lit.
I did a degree in lit, and I had a day job writing silly advertising for CBS Records.
That was for money? Or?
Yeah, for money. That was my bread and butter job for 13 years. And then,
13 is a long time.
Lucky 13.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
And then I got smart and said, I'm going to chuck this for a life of full-time music.
Okay.
And it's an interesting story. What happened was,
it can be a tough road to hoe to go down.
It is a tough road to hoe, but I've managed to swing it and support myself.
Good.
You know, for all these years. And I've been free of a day job for 18 years now.
In a preliminary conversation around the coffee machine, which we should have had another cup here for you on the set, but we didn't have a chance to because we ran out of time. We would have.
I got my Coca-Cola.
You got your Coca-Cola to keep you going. But you said that you were a student of Wyndham Lewis.
Yes.
Wyndham Lewis I associate with McLuhan in my sense.
Sure, McLuhan, but Mr.
It's worth talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a student of Lewis insofar as he was never mentioned even in Yale as part of the canon, nor was he
in literature.
In literature, no, his name never cropped up. It was only after I got out of Yale that I discovered him through the auspices of another friend of mine who, it turned out, had collected him. And Lewis is one of the great unsung modernist
I agree with you.
thinkers, genius painters. People, I mean, forget, he produced about 57 books and pamphlets and plays. Nonfiction, fiction, and a staggering amount of work. But he was actually a painter of note, and I've been lucky to see some extensive shows over the years, mainly in the British Isles. One in Manchester City Art Gallery when I was on tour with Captain Beefheart in 1980, and then recently
Captain Beefheart, you were a fan of him and played with him.
That's right. I played with Beefheart. I can talk about that.
Yeah.
But Lewis, 2 years ago, the Courtauld Institute in London, which is a marvelous museum complex that I'd urge everybody to check out. It's like a little hermitage. They had an exhibition of Lewis drawings that were great. Yes, Lewis synthesized Cubist and Futurist techniques to develop his own style, which he christened Vorticism.
Vorticism?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay.
And that was a short-lived English modern art movement. He blamed its short-lived quality on the incurious nature of English people, but I think he had the bad luck to launch it right before World War I. And so then he went off to fight, as did many of the artists associated with it, some of whom didn't survive the trenches. But Lewis,
horrible.
It was horrible.
Warfare. God.
Lewis published right before World War I really officially began a magazine called Blast, a journal of the arts. No, Blast.
I know Blast. Right.
Blast,
okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And there was a second issue too, a war issue, and also in Blast 1 and 2 were poems by his contemporary Ezra Pound.
Yeah.
T.S. Eliot had a poem. All of them. Pound, Eliot, and Joyce.
Any of Joyce. I was going to say Joyce.
They all respected and revered Lewis as an original thinker who has been unfairly tarnished as a fascist and an anti-Semite.
Pound got the same rap, didn't he?
Yeah, well, with Pound, you might actually make a bit of a case than Lewis, but I don't want to get into that. But anyway, Lewis is a fascinating and instructive critic, and well worth seeking out to read pretty much anything that he wrote.
Yeah, okay, good for you. And also McLuhan picked up on
it. And they were friends.
Yeah.
McLuhan
was a giant.
McLuhan was a giant.
The arts,
McLuhan, I mean, really, we're, I'd say, living in the midst of a post-McLuhan-esque age. Everything that he posited in the medium is the message, and the medium is the massage. Is really come to fruition. Whether you like it or not is another matter. But somebody like Guy Debord or other thinkers like Baudrillard, the French modernist thinkers, I would say are heavily indebted to McLuhan's vision.
And McLuhan was also very indebted to Joyce. I mean, he was absolutely awake.
Joyce is the master. Joyce, to me, is still the single most, towering figure in English literature.
And that all morphs over into this, the culture in general, and influence in trying to understand the human condition and all that. So the intellectuals. Who do we have around that's on the scale of, let's say, Wyndham Lewis, Marshall McLuhan?
Well, this is
Fuller?
not. I can't.
Who's around?
I
mean, are you still going down that track, or have you just gotten all wrapped up with music and that's it?
I don't really.
Or are you still following things intellectually?
I am, but I have to say I find a paucity of original thinking.
That's sad.
It is sad. But I'd say it's true in music too, because I mean, you may accuse me of creeping old fogeyism here.
No, you're not an old fogey yet. It's coming, brother. And I'm here to tell you it's all downhill from where you
I thought I'd already inherited the mantle. But if you look to, I mean, a golden age of music such as we had in the 60s, and then view the current landscape, which is, it's very depressing. And, they're where are the big figures? There are a few still hanging on from the 60s, but who's really come forward to take their place in terms of their radical impact on human evolution and consciousness?
Thank you for that. I think it's very important. I think 1970, in the fullness of time, for whatever it's worth, 1970 is going to be sort of in a certain sense seen as year one.
Well, okay.
I really think there was something going on in the zeitgeist that was being picked up on by the artists, wasn't picked up by the political classes, but it will be perhaps.
Maybe.
And it's worth repairing to still.
But 70 to me was sort of like the beginning of this trend. I looked to post 65, 66, 67, up to about 70. 70 is when I started Yale, and 70 is when waterbeds came in and a culture of solipsistic narcissism really took hold. The Grateful Dead, who I like a lot, even so, became just sort of the totemic band.
When was Bobby Dylan hitting his peak with,
I'd say
he was a poet, monster
66, 67, 68.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Dylan's had fantastic.
Yeah, that's that era.
Dylan is still capable of turning up amazing work such as Love and Theft, which I think is as good as anything that he ever did, which came out on 9/11, actually, literally.
Well, because it got to that point, I still say it's worth repairing to get some anchoring to what we're thinking. We could repair to some of those things. Joyce is still worth reading.
Joyce is still worth it. No, Dylan is still worth listening to.
Absolutely.
He's my favorite, my absolute number one favorite.
Anyway, but you got really heavy duty into the music and stuff.
I did.
And you've had a hell of a career. I hear Beefheart was somebody.
Yes. Don Van Vliet, a.k.a. Captain Beefheart, should be a lot better known. He should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
He's pretty well known, isn't he?
Well, I mean, he is among the cognoscenti of underground music, but the average Joe on the street, you draw a blank. You might even draw a blank mentioning Frank Zappa. To people
Zappa was
days.
A genius.
Another genius. Another genius.
Yeah.
Just like,
composer extraordinaire.
Yeah. And Beefheart, to me, was one of the strongest all-around artists of anybody really who'd ever.
And you had the honor to play with him.
Yes, I did.
A good deal. You became friends?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I managed him. If anybody said to manage flesh and blood, I never really liked that term, but I was an enabler.
Manage.
Yeah. Well, I was the nominal manager and guitarist in the band, but I did it out of love. Certainly.
Yeah, right.
I just thought the guy had gotten a raw deal, and that when the punk era really cranked up, and I saw a lot of groups taking things that were specifically germane to Beefheart originating.
Yeah.
I wanted to just make him better known in that period.
Yeah, good for you, and you did.
I did.
And you played with him, and you composed, and you created with him.
Well, he was the composer. I was an interpreter of his music.
Okay.
I mean, if truth be known, the band did contribute little things here and there along the line. This happens. But overall, he was the guiding principal intelligence and artistic leader, unquestionably. And
of your journaling.
Yes, of any version of the band. I mean.
And you have a band now.
Oh yeah, and
Major
there I'm
band
the leader.
With a lot of talent. Yeah.
Thank you.
Worth mentioning here at the outset.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, my band, Gods and Monsters.
Yeah, right.
The name comes from The Bride of Frankenstein, when Ernest Thesiger, or Theisiger, says to Cullen Clive, one mad scientist to another, to a new world of gods and monsters.
Ah, that's where you got the name.
Yeah,
okay.
Proposing the creation of the Bride of Frankenstein, played by Elsa Lancaster.
Uh-huh.
But
But you got some real talent as
Oh
well
yeah.
up in that band.
Well, Ernie Brooks is one of the best bass players going, and he came out of Jonathan Richman's Modern Lovers originally, and played also later with my friend Arthur Russell, another genius, dear departed friend.
Yeah.
Billy Fricke is the drummer who is the longtime drummer of Television, excellent New York band.
Somebody Talking Heads?
Jerry Harrison produced our latest album in the works, and occasionally sits in with us on keyboards.
And
Jerry
he's out of
amazing.
Talking Heads, right?
Jerry was in actually both the Modern Lovers and Talking Heads.
Okay.
Yes, we have a little new wave, or let's say postmodern supergroup. Jason Candler from the New York's own Hungry March Band is on alto sax, and the latest addition, certainly not the least, is Joe Hendel, who is an absolute killer on trombone and keyboards in the band.
That's a lot of talent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you gig around a lot. You
Yeah,
traveled to Europe. You've been in Russia. You've been over in Europe and everything.
Yep.
That's a lot to put all that together and everything. Like, congratulations on being able to get such talent in one place and various parts of the world.
I'm honored to work with these guys, and the fact that they would work with me on the project for very little remuneration to date is a testament to their belief.
But that you can get there and get it done and get it down, and you've
it
also
ain't easy.
You got to, I know it's not a struggle and everything, but and also you've been able to put it together where you got a number of records or DVDs.
Oh yeah,
and
no, I put out about 20 albums under my name, Gary Lucas.
Right.
I played on about 60, 70 of other people's albums.
Yeah.
I've put out my own DVDs, and they're all available through GaryLucas.com. GaryLucas.com.
That's GaryLucas.com.
Thank you.
Did you all get that? Go there. It's really word to go to and everything like that. And you've also held your hand in a certain sense politically.
Yes.
Although artists very often get, to where they're not too down that road. But you are, and I met you with Giorgio Gamelski, one of the hippest guys in New York City, great guy, and you were singing the praises of Mr. Obama, so you're in support of Obama.
Absolutely. I don't think there's a choice.
You don't want to vote for Miss Palin?
Don't get me started there. I mean, I'm sure she's a lovely person.
Yeah.
I think that Obama and Biden are the strongest candidates out there.
Yeah, guys.
Clearly, I mean, and it's our duty as citizens who care about the fate of this country and the fate of the planet,
fate of the world,
to step forward to try and see them elected, because I really don't think the country can stand another regime under Republicans.
Another 4 years of Bush.
Yes, and the policies.
Hasn't it been absurd?
It's been.
It's just like satire. And wasn't it beyond belief ironic and so forth that the hurricane hit New Orleans on the day Mr. Bush was supposed to address their convention? I couldn't believe it.
God must be furious at the people down here.
Yeah, Michael Moore has written great stuff on that. And I mean, I couldn't believe that, it's better than anything you could script. And it's coming right out of reality. Reality is better than anything you can script, I think, sometimes. Often, yeah.
Yes, it was the flying finger of faith.
Yeah, flying. I haven't heard that term in a long time.
Fickle finger.
Fickle finger. It was finger. Yeah. Anyway, so that might be a clue now, because you're gonna play for us. And we got a couple of clips, and one of them is, since we're talking about Obama, right? One of them is you came up with the thing serendipitously or something about Obama, a little thing for a minute or so.
Oh yeah.
And what do you call it, Obama?
It's just called Obama. I mean, it could be Whoa Obama, but what happened? I mean, the genesis of it is, I was doing Bob Fass's radio program. Bob Fass, longtime New York. Treasure on the late night WBAI tip, and it was the night of the first Democratic primary. Okay. And at midnight they said, by the way, Obama's won. Yeah,
that was a wake up.
That was a wake up call, and I was like so happy. The next day I was writing a blog.
You had been behind him before that,
I was keeping an eye on him.
I got you. Yeah.
I wasn't really committed to engaged in it at that point yet.
Yeah.
I was keeping an open mind.
Right.
And then I thought, okay, right, the people have spoken. And that was significant. And it came to me just sort of without really much
like an epiphany.
Yes, intellection.
Where were you, in the shower?
No, I was at a desk.
Were you on a road to Jerusalem?
No, I was on a desk in my apartment writing a blog. And somehow the cadence of a Lead Belly song known as Looky Looky Yonder came to me. And it seemed Obama, the way it parses syllabically and scans, just seemed to fit the bill. And so, whoa, Obama, Bam-a-lam.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to play it in a second,
yeah.
but I'm going to say it's like that because you do composing and you also do songwriting.
Yes.
And that's lyric. And what comes first, lyric or how do you get
when
with
you
me,
get a thing? Normally, this music comes first.
Music comes first.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting like that. Anyway, we're maybe we should get ready to play that. It's only about a minute, a minute and a half,
a minute and a half,
little thing, a little riff, and it's kind of fun mixed with some graphics and stuff. And we're talking with Gary Lucas again, GaryLucas.com. And let's play that little clip about his singing about Obama now then. Okay, let's play that, please. Thank you. Well, okay, here we go. And we're going to play that. There we go.
Kick it up a notch, bam. Kick it up a notch, bam. Kick it up a notch, bam. Whoa, bam-a-lam. Kick it up a notch, bam. Kick it up a notch, bam. Kick it up a notch, bam. Whoa, bam-a-lam. Whoa, Obama, bam-a-lam. Whoa, Obama, bam-a-lam. Obama has a vision, bam-a-lam. Obama has a dream, bam-a-lam. His shit don't stink, bam-a-lam. We're on his team, bam-a-lam. Obama has a vision, bam-a-lam. Like MLK, bam-a-lam. Gonna make us scream, bam-a-lam. Just like Fay Ray, bam-a-lam. Whoa, Obama, bam-a-lam. Whoa, Obama, bam-a-lam. Obama has a vision, bam-a-lam. Like Lincoln too, bam-a-lam. Make the U.S. map, bam-a-lam. Get back to blue, bam-a-lam. Gonna get Bin Laden, bam-a-lam. Hang him out to dry, bam-a-lam. With a whole sick crew, bam-a-lam. That told those lies, bam-a-lam. Whoa, Obama, bam-a-lam. Whoa, Obama, bam-a-lam. Gonna heal the sick, bam-a-lam. Gonna walk on water, bam-a-lam. Got a foxy wife, bam-a-lam. And fine young daughters, bam-a-lam. Whoa, Obama, bam-a-lam. Whoa, Obama, bam-a-lam. He ain't no Muslim, bam-a-lam. You idiots, bam-a-lam. You got your brain, bam-a-lam. Right where you sit, bam-a-lam. I hope he wins, bam-a-lam. And not McCain, bam-a-lam. Please not McCain, bam-a-lam. Whoa, Obama, bam-a-lam. Whoa, Obama, bam-a-lam. Whoa, Obama, bam-a-lam. Whoa, Obama, bam-a-lam.
All right, that's Obama. It just came to you and you put it out. It's kind of fun.
Catchy.
It's out on the web, I presume.
It's on the web, and you can download it for free off GaryLucas.com.
Gary Lucas, GaryLucas.com.
Yes.
It's there and everything like
it
that.
is.
And then you're going like that, and it's going, and we're now talking here. It's just coming up the Republican convention. We're going to hear Mr. McCain tonight. Are you going to do a thing for Mr. McCain?
No, but I made.
Would you do something like that was for Obama? Would you do something
an anti-McCain?
No, would you do something again, McCain, or is that your way, or do you have to?
Not
be
really.
On the
No.
side?
I'm trying to be on the
Always
positive
look
tip.
on the optimistic side.
We poked some gentle fun at McCain in the video, but generally speaking, no, I eschew nastiness. I try and be.
I think it's good, don't you?
I think it's good to maintain a positive outlook.
Yeah, right. You do it with all your music and that kind of thing?
I try. I mean, I can go back into the canon of Gary Lucas recordings. There's one or two songs I think now, if I had my druthers of rethinking, I might have had a different lyric. But I think it's very important to put people on a positive tip. There's too much negativity out there. I mean,
there's a lot of negativity. Yeah. There's a lot of angst, right?
Well, this is one of the most stressed out, world historical moments
that we happen to have been born into.
Yeah.
Could have been an easier time back in the old days.
I don't know about that, but I think that I believe in a very old-fashioned outlook, which is we're here for other people. We're here to really try and elevate the conditions of life for our fellow humans.
Let me ask you:
one-worlder.
Are you positive? Are you optimistic for the human prospect?
Yes, I would say overall, because I mean I had my doubts from time to time, like anybody. I still have my long nights of the soul, where it all just seems so overwhelmingly negative. I think the last one that really frightened me the most was the night after 9/11. But there I thought I saw a spiral downward that would, have no good consequence or outcome.
Let me ask you something. You're creative, right, and everything like that. Do you think creativity, outbursts of creativity, come off angst?
Well, yeah.
Or is there a roller coaster ride for the artist where you're in angst often and then you get like a slingshot, like a bow and arrow, and then it comes out?
I think you're
right.
You
know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah. No, but I think the one way that my songs function, and I think this is a trademark of a lot of my best songs, is that they posit a realistic picture of life, i.e. they're bittersweet. They're not all the way happy, major chord happy, or all the way negative minor chord. They go in and out of key changes and major minor modes a lot. And I think that's just like life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
we're
it's like
surfing
life.
along, and then, you know, we're pummeled by the wave that overtakes us, but we, you know, ride the wave and we ride the punches. But I definitely would try and, like, you know, urge and give people a positive.
Those upward swings of the wave and so forth, the things that can get you through the angst.
Yeah,
you know
man,
like,
you know, it's always darkest before the dawn, you know. I'm a great believer. My mom always used to say, you know, just
keep on trucking, said Mr. Crumb.
Basically,
through
you know,
the fog.
Really?
Yeah.
Good things are right around the corner.
Also,
you gotta
fun
believe
is
that.
good. Paul Krasner and Abby Hoffman, thank God for the likes of.
They were fantastic.
Absolutely, a realist and all that.
Oh, I love Paul Krasner.
Okay, we got a CD we're going to play in a bit down the line and everything. But maybe you seem to have a guitar with you, and you seem to know what to do with that guitar. So maybe you could just bring us something. Try and get the camera on him if you can, and they will. No. Beautiful. That thing sing,
Thank
man.
You, sir.
Okay, I wonder, you got another one you could just
whip
out? You can just whip it out? You just whip it out, right? And go, man.
Look over yonder, out from under, don't you wonder, never fear, lift me under, out from under, and up from here. When I was just a kid, you know, my daddy said to me, music's just a thing, my son, and guitar's just the key. I heard a voice inside my head, playing till my face turned red, and now I got the power to set you free. Lift me under, out from under, don't you wonder what's to be? Holy thunder, out from under, and up from here. I got out from under, I was hanging by my thumbs, schoolyard torn and plundered, waiting for whatever comes. The writing on the wall spoke tall, And so I had to chuck it all. I'm sailing down the seaway now. Just listen to me hum.
Oh, yeah.
Ripped asunder, out from under. Don't you wonder what's to fear? To lift me under, out from under, and up from here.
All right, brother. That's great, man. That's get up and move music.
Oh, yeah.
That's get up and music. That's good. You can dance to that music, yeah? That's
yeah.
really good. How many have you got in your overall? How many total would you say?
How many songs
Yeah.
I've written or something? A couple hundred. Between
Couple
200 and
hundred.
300.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
How often do they come?
Well, I don't write to a formula, and I don't write, really under pressure, so they just sort of come when they come. Let's put it this way. There have been periods where they came a lot, and they just sort of flowed out of me.
Get them down when they're there. Yeah.
I carry a little tape recorder.
Yeah, right.
I took the tip of
Yeah.
Beefheart because when I was in his band,
Yeah.
you were required, it was mandatory,
They have a.
standard issue tape recorder, a little Sony cassette recorder.
So when it comes, get it.
Yeah, well,
Capture it, yeah.
when it came to him, we had to get it because he'd do things like call you up at 3 in the morning
Yeah.
and go, "Hey, man, get this, man, get your tape recorder, listen to this," and then whistle tunelessly, just push air through his lips. You're like,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, it's
man,
good.
hey, learn
Yeah.
that on the guitar.
One of the advantages of the current situation is they got a camera. They got General, Echelon's got a camera on every corner. They must be recording everything that's being done by all our citizens in order to keep us safe.
Well,
so they're going to get all those good songs.
That's great.
The Akashic record. They'll be able to draw upon it. If we can, if we could, that'd be good. So you're still putting it out, and you go to Europe.
yeah.
You travel,
a
and
lot.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
right.
no, I'm heading to Berlin next week.
Are you really? Yeah,
Yes.
with the band.
No, this
No.
is going to be a gig at the Berlin Jewish Film Festival.
Okay, good.
And I'm working with the silent German expressionist horror film Der Golem.
Ah, yeah.
The Golem and How He Came into the World is the actual full title. The 1920 classic, directed and starring Paul Wegener as kind of a Jewish Frankenstein monster.
Right.
I love this film.
You're working in it in what sense? You're putting music? Or
yes.
what? How's it working?
Well, I composed along with a childhood friend of mine, Walter Horn,
Yeah.
an original score. And we debuted it here in New York at the Museum of the Moving Image in 1989.
Okay.
And since then, I have traveled with this film all over the world. I've played it in the last count 16, 17 countries.
Really?
Yeah, last
How
year I
does it
played
work?
in
You
Australia.
play the film and then the music, and how is
Well,
it? They haven't put them together on a tape or something
This
yet?
is, I mean, you can purchase at GaryLucas.com
Yeah.
a DVD of the film with my score on the soundtrack.
Okay.
But what I do live is they project the film,
Right.
and I'm set up a little bit like adjacent, peering into the screen off at an angle from the screen.
Right.
And
In
the
real
theater,
time,
in real time,
Yeah.
and I play my original score. Now, originally, Walter Horn played keyboards, and it was a duo thing. But I was on a tour in '93 that the Knitting Factory set up called
downtown. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
the Jam Tour. We went all over Europe, and they asked me to do this solo, and I devised a way of playing it solo.
Okay, and you're
So-
doing that now.
Yeah,
You do
about
it-
50% is improvised, I have to say.
Wait a minute. Each time you do, you improvise.
Oh, it's different every time.
Oh, it's
No, there are major themes that and cues.
Uh-huh.
There are specific cues for at least 40 or 50 sequences or characters in the film.
Well, that keeps it interesting for you.
Yes, I've
Because
played
every
it
day is a
hundreds of
different.
times.
Yeah.
There you go.
And
every
always,
time it's
and
different.
did you say 50% was improvised?
Just
And that
about.
particular show?
Every time I
You ought to
play.
get them all down, right?
Well,
Now, the question of the day, Gary
Yes.
Lucas, is one of those improvisations better than any of all the others?
Let's
or
put it this way. There are
you
some
know-
shows. I never felt like I owed the money, their audience.
you
the
ever-
audience, their money back.
Did you ever have to slink out or no?
No.
No, okay.
Well,
They're
I have
always
had-
up to a certain level, right?
let's put it
okay,
this way.
that's good.
I've had criticism.
But I'm trying to say the sterling one.
Well,
You know,
I'll
the
tell
one
you-
that opened the doors of heaven, you know.
The
or-
first one is always the best.
Oh, you think?
No,
Yeah, that's
maybe the
interesting.
last one.
Okay. The last one.
The last one's always the best.
Yeah,
but
because
I
that's
could-
the one you just got
I'll
out
tell
of,
you
yeah,
a memorable
yeah,
one.
yeah.
I played it in in Toronto in '95 at the Jewish Film Festival, and it was in a huge cinema that held about 1,000 people. And
wow.
There was 700 or 800 people in the audience,
right.
and I was really playing in the orchestra pit, but still there were. I had fans sitting in the tiers close by, Canadian fans. Yeah. And in the middle of it, about 15 minutes into it, a woman came stalking down the aisle and came right into my face while I was playing, because I'm like a juggler. When I play it, I can't really stop to do anything other. The balls will all fall out. Right. And she leaned into my face and she said, "I am an audiologist, and this is what I call noise pollution. Will you turn it down?" And I just looked at her with this helpless look, like I can't. Even if I wanted to,
can't be done,
I can't
man.
really
Can't be done, man.
And these fans in there said, "Sit down, shut up, let him play. It's his music. You know, like, get out of here."
Yeah.
And she just leaned in and went, "Asshole," and then, split. So everybody's a critic.
Did you get that down on tape? Do you get them all down on tape?
Sometimes I tape it, but I tell you, the problem with taping your shows is like then the task of listening to is like Beefheart used to describe listening to playbacks. He said it's like wading in your own vomit. Do you know what I mean?
Well, okay.
I mean, it can be a salubrious
but you do
occurrence or not, you know.
Yeah. Well, okay, you're in the business, and you go into studios, you tape, and the mixing. It's an art to mixing and making a good end of the road DVD or DVD, CD or something like that. And so you do record things, and it's worth trying to get them out and get it out to more people rather than just keeping it all to yourself, right?
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Like
it's
to
not
get
all
it out there. Listen,
yeah.
If you go to YouTube, for instance, and you're interested to see some of my archival performances around the world, I have about 160 up on a channel called Out From Under Live.
YouTube.
One phrase. I just played my original song, Out From Under, and the channel is Out From Under Live, and this has clips spanning 25, at least. You know, let's say the earliest clip is 80, 28 years of my career.
Oh, wonderful. That's all up on YouTube?
It's all on YouTube.
Available for free?
Sure.
To anybody, That's
Amsterdam, Russia. We have some of it here, by the way. From all over the place. Austria, Germany.
Let me ask you a question. You're into music largely, but of YouTube you get into video and stuff. And then the thing is that they just upped the size of a file you can upload. Say, I got an hour program. I got about 400 programs.
Yeah, you got them all on YouTube.
Well, no, I got 400. We got 2,400 in the archive. Wow. But anyway, they made it. It used to be you had to compress it all down to 100 megabytes. They put it up to 1,000 now, 1 gigabyte. So it's moving in the right direction toward pristine. And so is it the same with the music? Because with you, with the music and the nuance and the sound, the audio, I don't pay any attention much to the audio.
It's
just
pretty low quality audio.
You know, audio. That's what I'm asking you.
It can be, the problem is...
As we get more bandwidth, will the audio be able to be more pristine? Or what is your thought
I don't know.
Experience?
See, I'm not sure what the dynamics of the YouTube experience are as far as like the audio bandwidth.
Yeah, right.
But I do know that often... I listen at home through my little, Mac, iBook speaker, so it's not great. So I've heard, though, people play MP3s through their stereo.
From your YouTube?
Yeah, and they sound really good. So
why don't you get a better speaker in your home?
No, I mean, it's not really that. I just need the interface between the computer and the...
Can't you get that at Radio Shack?
Maybe.
Maybe it's worth doing, because then you could listen to yourself in full stereo quality.
But that's just it. It's like I'd rather just put it out there for other people to discover than for me to, kind of narcissistically luxuriate.
It's not narcissistic. It's not narcissistic. It's just putting... No, because when you're doing a thing and you got a lick going on and everything, and it's very, very special, it's very beautiful, that's a creative moment, and you want that to be able to be heard by people.
I agree. I'm all for it. Yeah. All you audio engineers up there, you see, I'm not very technically minded,
You're
honestly.
Not technically minded,
I mean, if you see me play electric, you'll know that I use often a lot of boxes, black boxes, to modify the sound, effects.
Yeah.
And I seem to know what I'm doing, and I do. I mean, how to use them, but it was really through a creative process of trial and error to figure out how to master these things. I'm not, I'm almost computer illiterate in a way. I wasn't really involved in even email until about 98, and then a friend of mine just gave me a loaner of their laptop and dragged me kicking and screaming.
Yeah, I know.
And
yeah.
so the computer
was
sort of like
Giorgio was into that early, you know. Giorgio was into that early.
And the video tip before anybody.
And he's doing a lot of stuff too. Now he's getting a lot of archiving stuff done.
Giorgio
It's a great
treasure.
It's a great hope for the world, that kind of thing. You know, that they got that kind of thing.
Let's put it this way: there's a great repository of knowledge, not just in archives, but in a few people's craniums.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you're a knowledge brother. Well, Giorgio's a knowledge brother. There's sort of like a community of knowledge brothers out there, but, you know, to the vast majority of people, this stuff doesn't seem like applicable or useful. Yeah. But I think it's very important, especially in music and music history, to have a knowledge of the continuum.
I heard you say earlier, if I may, I heard you say earlier there was a magic moment, 68, 7, 68 or something, Bobby.
Well, I'd say 66 or
66. Yeah. I have a friend who thought the best thing that was ever being done was a lot of street corner a cappella singing of doo-wop type stuff around 59. You could walk up in Harlem and just record it with a recorder and you got art. And then people were just a cappella doing it. So, and some people would think it's different and everything. What do you think about the prospects for the future? We look ahead. Do you think we may be on the breakthrough point where like we were? Because there was a time when there was nothing but Lawrence Welk in the 50s.
I hope so.
And you know what I'm saying? Maybe the upswing is on in terms of the creative breakthroughs.
It could be. Well, I hope so. I mean, like,
no, I'm asking, what do you think? What do you feel? Do you think do you get inspiration from Obama and that, or from that thing that's trying to birth itself here and that kind of stuff? Or,
yeah, I mean,
because the political thing does tie into the arts, I think.
It could be, though. I've heard people say the opposite, that the best art flourished under repressive regimes.
Weimar.
I wouldn't say it was true of the Reagan years. But I don't know.
Okay.
I was on a panel at McGill University. Actually, they have a thing called the Future of Music Coalition.
Okay.
And I was on a panel with Sandy Pearlman, who's a really original thinker and writer, producer. And Dan Levitin, who wrote the book, this great book called This Is Your Brain on Music.
I don't know it.
Check that out.
Okay,
no,
he's
quite an original theater.
Thanks. It's on the record now for everybody in the audience.
And some producers of like Prince and some other artists. And they were all like very well spoken, and you know, but Sandy and I sort of were the awkward squad on the panel, which was sort of like, you know, I don't know, I call it as I feel it. I'm sort of in the Nabokovian sense, where like Nabokov was asked what constituted great literature, and he said, when you read a passage and your spine tingles, you'll know you're in the presence of it. So I sort of apply the same principle to music.
There's a guy out of Sweden who's a mystery writer that he just passed. He was only young and everything. He's been spotted as somebody who's a great writer and that. But anyway, but we're both of the mind that, you know, there could be
it could be out there.
It's not a vast cultural wasteland now compared to that.
No, but it's just more fragmented. This is what I think the net has done.
The net has done that.
I mean, despite it being a great unifier.
Yeah, and it's an essentially good thing.
I'd say so. I mean, it's good to have information at your fingertips.
Yeah, right, absolutely. Yeah.
But there was something to be said about the older models, as bad as they were. Let's say,
carry me back to old Virginia. Go ahead.
No, and then you know, sometimes less is more. You know, and that when I was growing up, let's say you'd go to Woolworths or Kresge's every few weeks. Schraff's was great, but
the automat. Remember the automat?
But not for music.
Remember Abby being arrested? Got that famous photograph in front of Schraff's. Yeah. But maybe we're just old guys.
Horn and hard art.
But maybe we're just the old guys reminiscing for the old days, like they'd been doing through all of human history. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying this, that when the flow of product was restricted by, you know, the industry, majors and indies, to like maybe a handful of records got released every month. Nowadays, anybody with the notion of, you know, becoming an artist can buy a few boxes and make perfect records in their bedroom and then press a button and boot it up online.
Yeah, so, okay.
So, no, but
is
that
good or bad? Is that good or bad? Or
well, I'm all for democracy in the arts, but on the other hand, it can lead to a lot of bad art.
A lot of schlock.
A lot of schlock, and then it's hard to like find the good stuff, you know.
Well, then what you got to have, Walter Annenberg made a fortune by publishing. He made a fortune originally, you know, the famous guy in communication, made a fortune by publishing, what was it? the racing form. And he made a fortune doing that, to build a little fortune. And then he made a real fortune by publishing TV Guide when television was coming, and he put out what's on and made available. We ought to have more people who are identifying what's good among all that is there. And, you know, you get pattern recognition out of information overflow. So we should be identifying what's good better, and so we need a critic's ear and eye in terms of where the really good stuff is, right? So it's the intellectual
that I like, that I would like, you know, would more often than not trust their judgment, but like anything, don't follow leaders. You know, it's, you have to just sort of, you know, you'll know it from feeling it, and if it strikes a resonant chord and appears like, you know, valid or truthful to you, you'll adopt it, you know, and if not, you'll reject it.
Although, there is something for repetition of forms.
Not only repetition, but just recognizing the patterns, you know. I think the intellectuals are falling down on the job. Politicians are still being politicians, and they're, was it Pond?
Well, I thought it was amazing last night.
Yeah, Pond said that the artist is the intent of the race. I think it's true in that sort of sense. So we got to do. Listen, one of the problems is even in cable television, where you have endless time to talk, as I do all the time. We do have only a limited amount, and we got a DVD we want to show, or got a clip from a DVD. And so, as you say again, we're talking with Gary, and I wonder if we could set that up. Maybe you could set it up.
Okay,
for us
well.
You know,
this is off a DVD.
You know, some clip from the evil empire here, but Russia is a country where I've performed about 6 times.
That's something else,
And I really do love to play there.
You do? Okay, that's interesting,
and because, I mean, like any place, you know, with an aura of repressive regime around it, you're going to still find pockets of fans of people who seem perfectly lovely people, innocent of the crimes, supposed or not, of that regime. And, you know, I think this is important. It's like, for instance, when the United States bombed in Serbia. You know, I played in Serbia a couple of years ago with the Magic Band, and, you know, I was lucky that a fan I'd met in Budapest, Hungary, came and was still alive, because she told me a story. You know, I left my house when they bombed this bridge in Belgrade to go to the market. When I came back, the house was destroyed, and I left. So, you know, one wonders, like, you know,
a lot of bombs were dropped in that.
And, you know, it makes
no loss of American boys by that, you know.
And this is not, you know, I'm not a my country right or wrong type of guy. I'm a one-worlder. On the other hand, I'm a patriot. So one wants to, you know, when one hears stories like this, it gives you pause for reflection. Needless to say, I play in Russia, you know, as much as I can, and this is recorded at a festival in St. Petersburg, a lovely city.
Lovely city, a lot of bridges.
Beautiful city. A couple of years ago at the Skiff Festival. Skiff is an acronym for the Sergei Kuryokin International Festival.
Never heard of it.
Sergei Kuryokin is one of the movers and shakers, sadly dead now, of avant jazz and avant-rock music in Russia. He was one of the first to really play it and also talk about it, write about it, and publicize it. So there's a festival held in his name, sponsored by his widow and some other people. And they've brought together fantastic groups from all over the world and artists. The year I played there, the great band Magma, one of Giorgio's favorites, Christian Vander, was there from France with his band, and I was there with some great American artists. Henry Kaiser, for instance, who's a fellow avant guitarist, was there. Anyway, I played on a Sunday night at about 1 in the morning, a graveyard shift, and still had a nearly full auditorium. And it was one of the best solo concerts I ever did.
And this is the cut we're going to play.
This is from a DVD I have available at GaryLucas.com called Russian Fireworks.
Okay, we're talking with Gary Lewis, the Gary Lewis.
Lucas.
How quick they forget.
How quick I forgot.
If I had the royalties from This Time in Ring, no, that was Al Cooper. He's another friend of mine.
Lucas. Okay.
Yes, Gary Lucas and
Let's
the Playboy.
play that now because time be a running. We got to get it in before we end the program. Place the DVD now, if you could, George, by pushing start. All right, that's good. Sorry we couldn't get a big screen. There was some problem getting it to big screen because, of course, it is
larger than life.
Yeah, it's larger. God, that was gorgeous, man. That was really gorgeous. That was beautiful. And you got it down, and that's on your CD. That's one of your CDs. How many
DVDs.
How many DVDs do you have now?
I got about 5 or 6 for sale on the website.
And they're on the website, right?
Yeah, and I have about 20 CDs for sale.
Yeah.
All sorts of genres.
Yeah.
Chinese pop from the 1930s.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's back to the thing about Africa. Stuff comes out of China and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And there's original sounds coming out of China, I guess, and everything. So I don't know. There's reason to be optimistic,
Sure.
because, and if there's reason to be optimistic in spades, it seems to me, when you get to where you got species-lethal weapons, there's got to be something on the positive side that is equally existentially significant on the living side, as Fuller would have said. Maybe some sort of thing like a liberation, like we've never seen, or something. If we can get through to it, you know.
Yeah.
I guess that's the thing that keeps us going and everything like that.
Oh,
because, you know, it's a really incredible time to be alive after 200,000 years of human experience. And I think your music is something that's going to help keep things going, and the kind of things that you put out and the camaraderie you have with the music community.
Thank you.
You know, and your band. Get it in. We only got a couple of minutes
Gods
left.
and Monsters, they're playing Saturday night, this Saturday, September 6th.
Wait a minute, it's going to be too late for the airing of this program.
Oh,
but
well,
go ahead. Yeah.
If it's on YouTube tomorrow and anybody sees it.
Yeah, okay.
They'll be at the Howell Festival at Bowery Poetry Club at 8 p.m.
Okay, good. That's good to know. But it's
September
too late.
6th.
It will have already passed by the time this airs. But they're doing. How often do you all get together? That band, getting a lot of talent together.
Yeah, well,
like
we
that's
try
tough.
to play when we're in town at least once a month.
Yeah. What's your schedule like? Are you in town a good deal? Or
no, I'm like touring as much as possible, mainly in
lecturing.
Europe.
You call it
Touring,
lecturing.
but I do
Why do
lecture.
You lecture, yeah.
I teach and lecture at the Amsterdam Music Conservatory, but I've also done classes at Yale and at Columbia University, University of Hawaii.
Okay, that's
various places. I enjoyed talking to young students.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know, because I think that's a great function of my advanced age is to be able to try and impart, you know, some knowledge or whatever, you know, I've acquired in my experiences, you know, to pass on to the next generation.
Good deal. Well, it's a great deal you have to pass on. Thank you, my brother.
Sir.
So good to see you. We could talk for hours. Thanks. You're a monster on the on the guitar.
Thanks. Sir.
And so we've only begun to talk. It's been your pleasure. Then to have his perception. We invite you soon. We'll come back again tomorrow. Tune in then. And once again, Gary, thanks for coming in for such a very well-led life that continues. Okay. Thank you. We're coming back tomorrow. Okay, that was good.